With less than a month until the NBA draft, attention turns to the 2024-25 NBA Finals, set to tip off soon. Game 1 will see the Oklahoma City Thunder host the Indiana Pacers. Since neither conference final went to Game 7, the Thunder and Pacers have enjoyed a generous 7 and 4 days of rest, respectively. Given how notoriously tight this season's playoff schedule has been, this extended break is undoubtedly excellent news for both teams, especially for the Pacers, who have dealt with injuries. Many viewers are calling this year's finals a clash of contrasts. The Pacers, the sharpest spear, taking on the most formidable shield, the Thunder. So, let's break down the strengths and weaknesses of each team, analyzing their styles and whether the 18-game regular season win differential truly means a Thunder championship is a foregone conclusion. Despite their distinct playing styles, the Thunder and Pacers share some uncanny similarities. Both head coaches were named Coach of the Year. Both teams were excellent from beyond the arc in the regular season, ranking in the top 10 for three-point percentage. Both excel at turnover control. The Thunder had a league-low 11.7 turnovers per 100 possessions, while the Pacers were third lowest at 13.1, sandwiched only by the reigning champion Celtics. Crucially, both are small-market teams and, by mutual unspoken agreement this season, avoided paying the luxury tax. The Pacers' total salary of $169 million ranked 18th highest, while the Thunder's $165 million placed them at 25th. It's often assumed that contending for a championship requires massive spending. Yet, these two teams have undeniably created a small market miracle this season. The Thunder benefit from numerous rookie contract bargains, with key players like Jalen Williams, J. Will and Chet Holmgren still on their initial deals, and star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander SJ yet to trigger his Supermax extension. While the Pacers have Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam on max contracts, the rest of their roster offers excellent value, particularly Andrew Nembhard, whose new contract hasn't even kicked in yet, earning just $2.02 million this season. This year's finals mark a historic first. Since the luxury tax system was implemented, this is the first time both competing teams are non-tax-paying squads. Of the 44 finals teams in this period, 26 paid the tax, and 16 of the 22 champions were taxpayers. In contrast, the Thunder and Pacers are clear financial winners, avoiding the tax while also enjoying luxury tax distributions, essentially earning money just by being frugal. This surely embarrasses a certain Big Three team that paid a $188.5 million luxury tax only to miss the play-in tournament. Having covered the similarities, let's dive into the differences, which, as mentioned at the beginning, is the clash of contrasts. The Thunder are the most formidable shield. In the regular season, they restricted opponents to a league-best 51.3% two-point field goal percentage and a league-best 30.2% three-point percentage. They allowed only 107.5 points per 100 possessions, league-best, led the league with 10.3 steals per 100 possessions, and ranked second in blocks per 100 possessions, 5.7, just behind the Magic. In the playoffs, the Thunder's defensive rating improved further to 106.2, a full 2 points better than the second-ranked Celtics, and they maintained their league-best 10.7 steals per 100 possessions. Remarkably, with Isaiah Joe's reduced role, their regular rotation has virtually no defensive weak links, a truly terrifying prospect. Consider that even the 2022-23 champion Nuggets, in their 8-man rotation, had Jokic and Murray, who could at best hold their own defensively, and Michael Porter Jr. was a natural defensive liability. Conversely, the Pacers are the sharpest spear. While their regular season offense wasn't overwhelmingly dominant, 9th in points per 100 possessions, 3rd in assists, 4th in 2-point FG, 10th in 3-point FG, they were excellent but not elite. This might be due to Tyrese Haliburton's struggles early in the season, where he was once considered the top candidate for most improved player in reverse. However, in the playoffs, the Pacers' offense surged. Their offensive rating reached 118.1, second in the league, and they dismantled the top offensive team, the Cavaliers, in their second-round matchup. While injuries to Cavaliers stars like Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley played a role, the Pacers' offensive prowess is undeniable. Their shooting efficiency is frighteningly good, second in 2-point FG% only behind the Clippers, and league best in overall field goal percentage and 3-point percentage, particularly their 3-point shooting. They make 13.5 threes per 100 possessions, not exceptionally high volume, but their 40.1% accuracy stands alone. In the playoff 3-point percentage rankings, the gap between the Pacers and the second place, Bucks, is even larger than the gap between the Bucks and the 7th place Timberwolves. The Pacers were swept by the Thunder in their 2 regular season encounters, losing by a combined 27 points. However, firstly, the intensity of the regular season and playoffs is vastly different, so we cannot solely rely on this to conclude that the Thunder have an absolute upper hand. Counterexamples abound. In the 2008-09 regular season, the Lakers were swept by the Magic, but easily won the finals for 2-1. In the 2006-07 regular season, the Spurs were swept by the Cavaliers, but returned the favor in the finals. Secondly, even looking at those 2 regular season games, the Pacers' team characteristics were largely present. They averaged 27.5 assists and 12.0 turnovers in those games, close to their regular season averages of 29.2 assists and 13.2 turnovers. So, where did the Thunder win? The answer is simple: SGA. In late December in Indiana, SGA exploded for 45 points on incredibly efficient 15 of -22 shooting. Notably, he shot 4 of 5 from 3 and a perfect 11 of 11 from the free throw line. In March, back in Oklahoma City, SGA scored a game-high 33 points in just 31 minutes, leading his team to a blowout win in 3 quarters. Therefore, SGA is undoubtedly a problem the Pacers cannot solve. Since the Pacers are the spear and the Thunder the shield, let's analyze the Pacers' offense against the Thunder's defense. The Pacers' advantage, of course, lies in their extremely fast pace and highly efficient offense. They possess one of the league's best pick-and-roll operators in Tyrese Haliburton, and a stretch 5 in Miles Turner who can pop out. Combined with the fact that almost every Pacer can shoot threes, the 1-to-5 pick-and-roll is bound to be their bread and butter. As long as Turner can draw out Isaiah Hartenstein, Haliburton will have plenty of options: drive and kick to a shooter, pass to a popping Turner, or shoot it himself to punish the defense. So, Hartenstein's playing time in this series might be reduced, or at least his minutes playing alongside Turner. The second option is a pick-and-roll involving Haliburton or Nembhard and Siakam, allowing Siakam, the Pacers' strongest isolation scorer, to attack the Thunder's guards, gaining a height advantage. It's worth noting that due to the Thunder's extremely fast rotations and strong defensive discipline, whether the Pacers' signature fast break can thrive remains a question mark. The Pacers' worst offensive mode, of course, is direct one-on-one isolations. It's almost impossible for them to consistently beat the Thunder's individual defenders. Siakam is the Pacers' strongest isolation threat, but trying to score directly against the long-limbed, league-leading rim protector, Chet Holmgren, will be incredibly difficult. Furthermore, the perimeter defense led by Luguentz Dort will make life difficult for Nembhard and others. As the series progresses, once Alex Caruso potentially replaces Hartenstein, the Thunder will deploy their theoretically strongest defensive lineup. At this point, the Thunder's 2 interior defenders would be Chet with Jalen Williams, or Chet with Caruso. This would nullify the Pacers' idea of having their ball-handling guards target the opposing center. Most importantly, the Pacers cannot have any obvious offensive weaknesses or non-spacing players during this period, because if the Pacers put a player without a shooting threat on the court, the Thunder will aggressively leave them open and relentlessly send angled traps and double teams at the ball handler. At this point, the Pacers' ball handlers, whether Haliburton or TJ McConnell, will find themselves constantly hounded and double-teamed from the backcourt, significantly increasing the probability of turnovers and allowing the Thunder to launch fast breaks and get into their preferred rhythm. In previous rounds, the Pacers' depth was an advantage, as they run a multiplayer rotation. However, in the finals, the Thunder are also a deep team with a multiplayer rotation. Conversely, let's look at the Thunder's offense against the Pacers' defense. First, we must clarify that while more known for their defense, the Thunder's offense is by no means weak. In both the regular season and playoffs, their offensive efficiency ranked 3rd in the league. The terror of the newly crowned MVP and scoring champion, SGA, has already been mentioned. Besides his and Jalen Williams' isolation scoring, the frequency of the Thunder's defensive fast breaks and their aggressive defense-first offense are well known. In terms of three-point shooting, the Thunder might appear to have pseudo-shooters, but after being forged in the crucible of last season's playoffs, their consistency has improved this season. While their overall shooting percentage might be slightly lower, there isn't a single player on the court who can be completely ignored. The Pacers' defense is certainly not bad either. Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith are akin to a Holiday White defensive pairing, and Turner is a quality rim protector. However, they lack a top-tier lockdown defender like Jaden McDaniels of the Timberwolves. Therefore, we circle back to SGA's isolation scoring. This could be the key to the Thunder breaking through in this series. The NBA's tight perimeter defense might be susceptible to SGA's foul-drawing prowess. If a defender dares to give him an inch of space, SGA also has his mid-range jumper. Nesmith has better size, but is slightly slower, yet SGA's drives are equally threatening. At that point, the Pacers might be forced to use zone defense or aggressive double teams, which could test the Thunder's role players' ability to hit open threes. Let's summarize by highlighting some key points for both teams. For the Pacers, defensively, they need to focus on controlling turnovers, especially in half-court sets, and their defense against SGA. Beyond initial on-ball defense, help defense and containment from the weak side are equally crucial. The Nuggets' defense once made life very difficult for SGA, but it will be challenging for the Pacers to fully replicate that. As for the Thunder, their defensive scheme choice is vital. At least against the Pacers, they cannot afford to sag off non-shooters as they did against the Nuggets or Timberwolves, prioritizing only rim protection. Secondly, the correct usage of Isaiah Hartenstein is important. If things aren't going well, he might need to spend more minutes on the bench. If we talk about the lifelines for both teams, it would be the Thunder's paint defense and the Pacers' 1-5 pick-and-roll. In the playoffs this season, whenever the Thunder felt genuinely threatened, their paint defense suffered. Correspondingly, in the Pacers' poor performances, opponents usually dismantled their pick-and-roll, forcing Haliburton to relinquish the ball to Nembhard or Siakam for isolations. If we have to compare the two teams' strengths, the Thunder are undoubtedly the favorites. While the Pacers' defense is strong and their offensive efficiency surpasses the Thunder's, we must consider that the Pacers' opponents in the first 3 rounds were the Bucks lacking perimeter defenders, the Cavaliers with 2 small guards, and the Knicks with defensive liabilities at the 1 and 5 positions. Against the Thunder, a team truly rooted in defense with all players locked in, the Pacers might find their shot attempts drastically reduced and their shooting touch hard to find. SGA's individual scoring and foul-drawing ability could quickly lead to the Pacers' perimeter defenders getting into foul trouble or being forced to reduce their minutes. However, the Pacers are not without their chances. Haliburton's ability to protect the ball and pass out of double teams will be severely tested, but if he can withstand that test, the situation will be relatively optimistic. If the Pacers can reduce passing and ball handling time for their role players, find mismatches to break down man-to-man defense, and capitalize on open three-point opportunities after breaking initial matchups, for example, shooting lights out from the corners against the Thunder, then they will have a chance. Haliburton recently stated in an interview, "No experts or analysts will pick us, but that's okay. We love being the underdogs." All in all, Game 1 will be a crucial battle. Whether the Pacers can play their desired brand of basketball will determine how long this series suspense lasts. The Thunder are already the favorites and hold home court advantage, with overwhelming odds reflecting that. If the Pacers perform poorly in Game 1, the public opinion will likely swing overwhelmingly to the belief that the Thunder can close out the series in 5 games or less.